Okay guys, it is time for the final part of Chapter 7 of the Path of Radiance hard mode draft, and much of the same has been going on ever since the second part, considering it just left off here, but this process continues for the next 2 or 3 turns, if I recall correctly. I eventually do break through this wall of units on this turn. It was a matter of trying to get the unit enemies to attack Ike instead, just because I wanted them to get the hell out of my way. And then Ike would go by this turn and smack that guy attacking Titania right now. But it's pretty frustrating so far, just because like I said, the enemies are attacking so many different people, and I have to go out of my way to get the guy over there, and I don't want to take penalties for that because I like to play clean. I would rather take a higher turn count than get a lower one with penalties. I don't know. Penalties just kind of defeats the purpose of the draft, which it might sound stupid, but that's just my play style, I guess. Like I said, I think I have Ike equipped with the Armor Slayer, which lets him pretty much absolutely dominate these Armor Knights here. So actually, never mind. I think I have Oscar has a clear path to go up above now. I would have liked to have Gatry at this point just so we could shove him to get a little bit closer, but I think I have Ike actually attack the thief to allow him, or I go back there. I can't remember. It's one of those two, I feel, but you can't kill him with that. So I think I go with the Armor Slayer because I want to save uses of the Regal Sword, which makes sense. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. The Armor Slayer pretty much becomes irrelevant after a few chapters as Ike gets a pretty beast level up, and the ever so useful Ward Staff, which I think has practically no purpose in this game whatsoever, and every other Fire Emblem game for that matter, to just be free experience for a healer. So that's what I use it for on Reese, and he gets, I think it has 15 uses, so he gets about 150 experience out of it, which is pretty good, especially if he doesn't have anything to do in a crowded chapter, or a chapter where I can't exactly get to anyone due to their high movement. But I think I just go up above now. I should have. Damn it. Because Reese still blocked that path off, and technically it wouldn't really even matter because he has such high resistance. I think he has 18 at like level 6. So it didn't matter much. I should have really done that differently, but I digress. As I've said before, hindsight happens to be 20/20 on most occasions. So oh well. I think it would have cost me at least a turn, but I get myself hung up on a lot of stuff like that, but it's okay. And see, that was something else I didn't really want to happen. Was just now, it's a matter of me taking an extra turn to kill the mage, to kill, which may not seem like much. I know it's only 3 units in front of you, but if you look, one of them doesn't move, and he has to be killed for the chapter to end. So I have to practically just send him over there to kill him, which is entirely too frustrating because once again it costs me an extra turn, and in a run like this, I'm getting at this point in the process where I'm actually starting to try hard a bit more than I would like. Not shaving off a turn due to my own inability is pretty frustrating. But by the time I had realized most of this stuff, I had already recorded it and watched it over a few times, and I didn't have a save at this chapter because my general idea of saving the game when it comes to this, because I have 2 files that I just want to keep. I have my first ever playthrough, and then I have a hard mode Ike solo playthrough that I like to play through, and I have just some when I'm really bored, I guess. But I generally have 3 files open. I have one for like certain trademark chapters, or benchmark chapters, like chapter 8, I had one saved there until I reached the end of chapter 17. Then I put chapter 17 in its spot. And I generally save the chapter I was just on and the chapter before, and then I keep that save and do the chapter after in a different file. And then after I complete that chapter, I overwrite the previous chapter. This way, it allows you to move at a pace which is comfortable, as well as being able to go back and fix your mistakes if you feel like you could have done a chapter way better, or if somebody tells you something else, or it's basically just a way to double check yourself and have the opportunity to improve. So I highly recommend doing something like that if you're going to try a run like this, because going through and not being able to go back or backtrack to a certain chapter, especially if it was the chapter just before and it was, you know, a meaningless thing that could have saved you a turn or two, or say perhaps you forgot an item in a chest, or because I did all of chapter 13 with the intention of Astrid dying, and for example, I forgot that she gave you the Night Ward, and which is one of the best items in the game. It's incredibly helpful, especially if someone's trying to, if they've drafted Nephany or something like that, if they try to recruit her, and it just gives her like a really helpful boost early on with her survivability, and increases her speed growth apparently, which is just awesome. But it's stuff like that which makes me have a definite policy of saving a backup file for the previous chapter, just in case something like that happens. Because I mean, it's kind of hard to do a run like this without a lot of research and expect to do well, because you need to know what chests you need to get, what's in them, you know, how you're going to get there, planning for ahead. Unit positioning is very important as well, even if it's just for shove abuse, which I use heavily in the later chapters, because units like Soth and Reese on certain occasions just have nothing better to do than to shove, and it's actually way more helpful than them just waiting at the end of a turn. If they have nothing to do, shove somebody. It really does help. It really does help. You'll see on chapter 17, most of the parts I am heavily abusing shove, smite, and all that. So I don't use rescuing very much because I don't like it, because it does pose problems, as even if a unit has Canto, he can't make an action afterwards, like he can't attack, and having a non-attacking turn for one of my best units, which is Oscar at this point, who is mounted, which is the only reason to use rescue in my opinion, is pretty dumb and pretty lame. But I do use rescuing once to my advantage, and I actually don't take penalty for it, although I used units that were undrafted due to the rules. So that was pretty cool. That was on chapter 15, and I was really proud that I was able to make that strategy work as quickly as possible. I will say though, even if you do have Jill and Lethe, who are used to recruit Stefan that early on, you definitely don't qualify to do that without penalty if you don't have Mordecai, because Smite was so crucial to that plan. So, but yeah, I think Oscar damages him, and then Icon's the chapter. But like I said, I'll probably talk about more of this kind of stuff in later parts of the run. But hopefully, like a lot of these tips I am giving you, if you ever want to do something, just get a little bit of an edge, really. So in chapter 7, I mostly talked about foraging, bonus experience, unit positioning, and all that. So, but that I will leave you with that. This was the final part of chapter 7, and now we're on to the mid game in part 8. So thanks for watching.